The moment she said it, my heart froze. "Rocky, we're dressed tonight or we're done." I blinked, uncertain if I had heard her correctly. My wife, Amara, stood in our bedroom with her arms crossed, eyes sharp, serious, yet flickering with an emotion I couldn't place. The air between us seemed to thicken, as if the words themselves had shifted the room. "What do you mean?" I stammered, my voice shaking, betraying the mixture of disbelief and fear that surged through me. "I mean exactly what I said," she replied firmly. "One night. Just tonight. And if you refuse, I can't continue like this." I felt my stomach drop. One night? A dress? My mind raced, heart hammering against my ribs like a frantic drum. Why now? Why this ultimatum? What could have prompted her to ask something so radical, so unexpected? Amara stepped closer, her presence commanding yet gentle. "Rocky, it's not about the dress. It's about trust, courage, and our bond. This is about proving to ourselves that we can step outside comfort zones for each other. This matters. For us." I swallowed hard, my thoughts colliding in a chaotic storm. I don't know if I can." Her hand lifted my chin, her gaze piercing but soft. "You can. And you will. Tonight, you'll wear the dress. And we'll see what comes next." I felt my pulse quicken, a mix of fear and intrigue twisting in my chest. Everything I thought I knew about myself, our marriage, and courage was about to be tested in ways I couldn't yet comprehend. I glanced toward the closet. Inside lay the dress she had picked, soft pink, delicate lace, flowing like a gentle ripple. My hands trembled as I reached for it, the fabric brushing against my fingers, soft and almost alive. Amara's voice was calm but firm. "It's just one night, Rocky. Trust me." One night to show courage, to show love, and to test how far we're willing to go for each other. I nodded, even though my mind screamed uncertainty. One night. That was all. But deep down, I sensed that this night would change everything: my life, our marriage, and possibly even myself. The room felt quiet now, except for the sound of my shallow breathing. I touched the dress again, feeling the smooth fabric. My reflection in the mirror startled me. I barely recognized the person staring back. Vulnerability radiated from me, yes, but also something else, a quiet tremor of courage I didn't know I possessed. Amara stepped behind me, guiding me patiently. "Look at yourself," she whispered. "This isn't about being perfect. It's about taking a step, showing trust, and embracing vulnerability. That's what makes this meaningful." I laughed nervously, a sound that echoed my apprehension. "Trying? I feel ridiculous." "You're not ridiculous," she said softly, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. "You're brave. That's what makes you beautiful." The zipper was tricky, my hands fumbling, but Amara's guidance helped. Step by step, the dress was on, hugging my form in a way that made my heart race. My reflection stared back at me, a blend of vulnerability and newfound strength. "You're doing this," Amara said quietly but with conviction. "And I'm proud of you." I exhaled, realizing she wasn't talking only about the dress. She was speaking about courage, trust, love, and the delicate balance of marriage, all of which this night would test. We stepped out of the bedroom, each step echoing in the quiet apartment. The hallway felt longer, the air heavier, and my heartbeat thundered. Every movement in the soft pink dress felt surreal, like walking a tightrope stretched between fear and faith. Amara's hand in mine grounded me. "Breathe, Rocky. One step at a time. You're not alone." The door opened to the night. The soft glow of the streetlights cast long shadows across the pavement. The city outside seemed quieter than usual, almost waiting for me to step forward. Every shadow, every distant sound, felt magnified, making the world seem larger, scarier, and exhilarating. "You look amazing," Amara whispered. "Not because of the dress, but because you're willing to try. That courage, that willingness, that's what counts." I laughed nervously, trying to mask the shaking in my legs. "Amazing? I feel like everyone is staring already." Her hand squeezed mine. Let them stare. Tonight isn't about them. It's about us. About trust. About love. About showing your heart even when it's terrifying. We walked down the quiet street, hand in hand. My chest felt tight, adrenaline rushing through every vein. Every glance felt scrutinizing, every whisper from passers-by amplified in my mind. But Amara's presence beside me was a constant reminder I wasn't doing this alone. When we arrived at the small cafe she had chosen for the evening, my chest tightened further. The warm lights spilling onto the sidewalk were inviting, yet I felt exposed. Inside, a few friends were waiting. Faces I knew, expressions ranging from curiosity to subtle judgment. Amara leaned close. Remember, Rocky, this isn't about the dress. It's about trust, courage, and love. Let them see you, truly, but don't let their reaction control your courage. I nodded, taking a deep breath. One night, one dress, and the possibility that this small act could define everything we had built together. We approached the table, and the silence was almost deafening. Their eyes widened as they took in the pink dress, the lace, and my tentative posture. I felt heat rising to my face, every heartbeat pounding like a drum in my chest. Sarah, a longtime friend, broke the silence first, her grin playful but supportive. Rocky, wow. I didn't expect this. That dress that actually looks really good on you. I blinked in disbelief. Really? Good. Yes. Absolutely. You look confident. Brave, even, she said. I respect that. Liam, another friend, leaned back in his chair, smirking. Not gonna lie, Rocky didn't think you'd pull it off, but here you are. Points for courage. I laughed nervously, rubbing the back of my neck. Courage, that's definitely one way to put it. Amara's hand found mine beneath the table. See? Courage matters more than perfection. And you're showing all of it right now. We started to talk slowly at first. Nervous laughter, light teasing, and warm conversation gradually began to dissolve my fear. Each exchange built my confidence, brick by brick. But the night wasn't over. There was a weight lingering in the air, a sense that the real test had yet to come. A mysterious figure appeared near the door, scanning the room. Their gaze locked on me. Amara's hand tightened around mine. Rocky, stay calm. This is the first of the real challenges. The stranger approached, calm but deliberate. Rocky, they said, voice cutting through the room's murmur. Interesting choice of attire. Tell me, is this for her? Or for you? I froze. It's for her. And maybe for me too. But mostly for us. Amara's eyes met mine. Exactly. Courage, trust, and love. That's what matters. The stranger nodded faintly, a flicker of approval in their eyes. Tonight isn't just about a dress. It's about trust, vulnerability, and proving yourself under observation. Are you ready? I felt my stomach twist. Panic threatened to overtake me, but Amara's unwavering gaze anchored me. I'm ready, I said firmly, taking a deep breath. I'll do it. The stranger nodded and stepped back, disappearing into the crowd. Amara exhaled. That was the first true test. You handled it with courage and honesty. I laughed nervously, the tension in my chest easing just slightly. Passed, but I have a feeling the night has only just begun. Amara smiled, her eyes warm. It has. And you're stronger than you think. I'll be right here with you. As we sat at the table, the city lights casting a soft glow around us, my phone buzzed. A new message appeared. Phase 2 begins soon. One challenge left for the night, and it will push your courage, trust, and love to the absolute limit. I felt my chest tighten. One dress, one choice, and one night could truly change everything: our marriage, my confidence, and maybe even who I was. The message on my phone made my hands tremble. Phase 2 begins soon. Those words felt heavier than the dress, heavier than the teasing looks from my friends. One choice, one night, and now another challenge was coming. I glanced at Amara. She was calm, confident, the picture of unwavering support. Her hand found mine under the table, and the simple contact steadied me more than I expected. Rocky, whatever comes, we'll face it together, she whispered. I nodded, trying to draw a deep, steadying breath, but the air in my lungs felt tight. My mind raced. What kind of challenge could this be? The cafe was familiar, our friends were friendly, yet every shadow, every quiet murmur felt amplified, like some hidden test was lurking around each corner. Sarah leaned closer, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. So this phase 2, huh? Sounds dramatic. I forced a laugh. You could say that. I don't know what's coming next. Liam smirked. Rocky, whatever it is, you're already braver than most people. Honestly, I'm impressed. Amara squeezed my hand again, her warmth anchoring me. It's not just about bravery, Rocky. It's about trust. And you've shown that already. Just then, the stranger from earlier appeared again, leaning casually against the cafe doorframe. Their eyes swept the room slowly until they landed on me. I felt exposed under their gaze, like a test was unfolding without warning. Rocky, they said, their voice calm, yet commanding. Phase 2 is about more than just a dress. It's about presence, vulnerability, and honesty all in front of people you care about and those you don't know. Are you ready? I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of every word. My heartbeat thundered, and for a moment, I imagined turning and running, yet something inside me, some quiet courage, wouldn't allow it. I'm ready, I said firmly, standing a little taller in the pink dress. Whatever this challenge is, I'll face it. The stranger's lips curved in a faint smile. Good. That's all I needed to hear for now. As the evening unfolded, the first part of the challenge began. Our friends were encouraged to interact with me, asking questions about the dress, the choice, and the experience. At first, the teasing was lighthearted, but I quickly realized that every question tested not only my courage, but also my composure. So, Rocky, Sarah said with a grin, do you feel different wearing it? I hesitated, then found honesty the only way forward. I do. It's strange, unfamiliar, and a little frightening, but it's also empowering in a way I didn't expect. That's impressive, Liam said, nodding slowly. Most people would have crumbled or laughed it off, but you're handling it. I felt a surge of pride, but it was mixed with anxiety. Every laugh, every compliment, every glance carried a weight I had never experienced. I was vulnerable, exposed, and yet, strangely, growing stronger with each moment. Amara leaned close, whispering in my ear, Rocky, remember, this isn't just about appearances. It's about showing trust, courage, and love. That's what counts tonight. I nodded, taking a deep breath, letting the words sink in. The dress was no longer just fabric. It had become a symbol of everything I was learning about myself, our marriage, and the delicate balance between fear and courage. Then came the next part of the challenge, the stranger's subtle tests. They engaged in conversations that probed deeper, asking questions that required honesty, self-reflection, and composure. So, Rocky, the stranger said, voice calm, what have you learned about yourself tonight? I blinked, caught off guard. This wasn't just about courage or a dress. It was about introspection, confronting parts of myself I had never faced. I've learned that fear doesn't have to control me, I said slowly. That vulnerability isn't weakness, and that trust is more important than comfort or pride. And a love requires both courage and honesty. The stranger's gaze softened slightly. Good. That's exactly what tonight is about. But remember, there's more to come. Courage isn't tested in calm waters, it's tested in storms. My stomach twisted. I had faced the dress, the attention, and the whispers. But if this was only the beginning, what could be next? Amara's hand remained firm in mine. You're doing perfectly, Rocky. Keep going. You're stronger than you know. I drew another deep breath, standing taller, letting the nervous energy settle into determination. Whatever came next, I realized that courage wasn't about not feeling fear, it was about moving forward despite it. The cafe door opened again. More strangers entered, and I felt the weight of observation pressing down. They whispered among themselves, curious eyes fixed on me. I straightened my back, remembering Amara's words, Trust, courage, love. Sarah nudged me playfully. Rocky, don't let them intimidate you. You're rocking this dress. I laughed nervously, but my confidence grew. Every smile, every supportive glance, every small compliment from friends reinforced what I was learning tonight. It wasn't about the judgment or the outfit, it was about trust, courage, and commitment. Then the stranger from earlier returned once more, carrying another small note. They handed it to me silently, eyes glinting with challenge. I unfolded it carefully. The message was clear. Phase 2 isn't over. One more task remains before the night concludes. It will test your courage and honesty in front of everyone here. Are you ready to face it? I felt my pulse spike. One more task. My stomach twisted, but I looked at Amara calm, confident, and supportive, and I knew I couldn't back down now. I'm ready, I said, voice steady. Whatever it is, I'll face it. Amara smiled, her eyes shining. That's my Rocky. One step at a time. You're proving yourself in ways that matter far beyond tonight. As the strangers whispered and the cafe seemed to hold its breath, I realized that the final part of the challenge wasn't about appearances, laughter, or fear. It was about trust, honesty, and the courage to fully embrace who I was in front of everyone I knew and everyone I didn't. The night was far from over, and the next moment could change everything. The message from the stranger burned in my mind. One more task remains before the night concludes. Are you ready to face it? My fingers trembled around the dress's soft fabric as I glanced at Amara. Her eyes were calm, unwavering, full of trust and belief. Rocky, it's time, she whispered. Remember, this is about more than the dress. It's about courage, honesty, and trust. You can do this. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of every pair of eyes in the cafe. Friends, strangers, acquaintances, they were all watching, their expressions a mix of curiosity and anticipation. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and strangely exhilarated. This night wasn't just a test of fashion or bravery, it was a test of character. The stranger stepped closer, voice low but deliberate. Rocky, Phase 2 isn't just about standing here. I wanted to speak honestly, openly, about why you chose to wear that dress, what it means to you, and what you're learning tonight. In front of everyone. My stomach twisted. Speak in front of all these people? My heart pounded, adrenaline surging like wildfire. But then I felt Amara's hand squeeze mine. Her steady presence anchored me. I nodded, trying to steady my voice. I'll do it. The stranger stepped back, giving me space, and I drew a deep breath. Tonight, I began, voice shaking at first. I wore this dress because Amara asked me to. And at first I was scared. I didn't know if I could, if I wanted to, if it would change everything about me or about us. I glanced at Amara. She smiled encouragingly, nodding slightly. That gave me the courage to continue. But then I realized something. I said, voice growing stronger. This isn't just about the dress. It's about trust. Trust in my marriage, in Amara, and in myself. It's about courage, the courage to be vulnerable, to step outside my comfort zone, and to face fear without hiding. The cafe was silent. Every ear seemed tuned to me. Even strangers had stopped talking, waiting for the conclusion of my words. And I've learned, I continued, my confidence growing, that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's strength. And trust is what makes love possible. Without it, we're nothing. Tonight, this dress, this experience, it's about proving that love, trust, and courage are more important than fear, embarrassment, or judgment. Amara's eyes shimmered with pride. My friends were stunned, some smiling, some nodding, and even the stranger regarded me with a faint, approving smile. Good, the stranger said quietly, almost to themselves. Now you understand. Phase 2 is about revealing your heart, showing your courage under scrutiny, and embracing honesty. I exhaled slowly, tension releasing in waves. For the first time, the dress didn't feel like a trap or a test. It felt like a symbol of trust, love, and courage. But then the stranger's gaze sharpened. Phase 3 isn't just about honesty or courage. It's about action. You'll face one last decision tonight, a choice that will define the rest of your evening and possibly your future. My stomach lurched. One last decision? I thought tonight would end with a dress and some nerves, but now it felt like the culmination of everything I had felt, feared, and fought against all evening. Amara leaned closer, her whisper gentle but firm. Whatever comes next, Rocky, remember why you started this journey tonight. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. I nodded, steeling myself. The cafe had transformed in my mind from a familiar, friendly place into a stage one where every glance, every murmur, every subtle movement mattered. And now, the final act was about to begin. The stranger handed me another envelope. My hands shook as I took it. Slowly, deliberately, I opened it. Inside was a card, and the words made my heart seize. Phase 3. You must decide fully embrace the role tonight in front of everyone here, or leave the dress and walk away from this challenge and possibly from her forever. I felt my pulse spike. The dress, the challenge, the attention, the whispers, they all culminated into this single, defining moment. My mind raced. Could I do it? Could I trust myself enough to see this through? Amara's hand covered mine. Rocky, whatever choice you make, I'll be here. But remember courage, honesty, trust. That's what tonight is about. I drew a deep, steadying breath, feeling the adrenaline, fear, and anticipation merge into determination. This was more than a dress, more than an ultimatum. This was a test of love, trust, and who I was willing to become for the person I loved most. I straightened, taking a slow step forward. The cafe fell quiet, every eye on me. My friends whispered to one another, their expressions ranging from concern to admiration. Strangers leaned forward slightly, curious. And the stranger, the orchestrator of this night, nodded once, approvingly. I will stay, I said firmly, voice unwavering despite the pounding in my chest. I'll embrace this. For her, for us, and for myself. Amara's eyes shone. Thank you, Rocky. This means everything. I felt the weight of the night shift. The dress wasn't just fabric anymore. It was a symbol of courage, love, and trust. And the challenges weren't just tests. They were opportunities to grow, to understand, and to prove what mattered most. The cafe seemed to exhale with me. The whispers faded into soft conversation. Laughter returned, gentle and supportive. My friends smiled, and even the stranger nodded again, their expression approving but unreadable. For the first time, I realized that the night hadn't been about embarrassment or pressure. It had been about growth, courage, trust, and love. And though the final phase had been intense, it had taught me more about myself and my marriage than I could have imagined. Amara leaned her forehead against mine, whispering, Rocky, tonight proved something greater than you realize. Not just to me, but to yourself. I smiled, finally understanding. Fear and vulnerability weren't enemies. They were paths to courage, trust, and love. And as the cafe settled back into normalcy, I felt a quiet certainty. No matter what challenges came next, we would face them together. Just as the night seemed to calm, my phone buzzed again. Another message appeared. Well done so far. But remember, courage is not one night. The world will continue to test you, and love will remain the ultimate challenge. Are you ready for what comes next? My chest tightened. The night had been a journey, but clearly, it wasn't over. One dress, one choice, and one evening could only be the beginning. The phone buzzed again, jolting me from the fragile calm I had built. The message was simple but heavy. The final test begins now. Courage, trust, and love will be measured. Make your choice wisely. I swallowed hard, my hands tightening around the edge of the cafe table. My friends exchanged glances, sensing tension in the air. Amara's hand found mine again, her presence steadying me in ways I hadn't realized I needed. Rocky, no matter what happens, she whispered, remember why you're here. Trust and love are worth every second of discomfort. I nodded, taking a shaky breath. The pink dress I wore felt heavier than ever, a constant reminder that tonight was more than a test, it was a turning point. The stranger reappeared, sliding a small envelope across the table toward me. I hesitated before picking it up, aware that this was the culmination of everything the night had built. Slowly, I opened it. Inside was a single card. Phase 4. You will perform a small act of vulnerability in front of everyone here. It may feel uncomfortable, embarrassing, or frightening, but it is necessary to complete your journey tonight. My chest tightened. A small act of vulnerability? My mind raced. What could they possibly want me to do? Speak? Dance? Confess something personal? The anxiety pressed against my chest, yet beneath it, a spark of determination flickered. Amara's eyes met mine, unwavering. Rocky, you've faced every challenge tonight with courage. This is just another step. You can do it. I took a deep breath and nodded. Okay, I'll do it. The stranger stepped back, gesturing toward the center of the cafe. Stand there. Speak or act. Let everyone see your vulnerability, honestly and openly. All eyes turned toward me. My friends were supportive but nervous. Strangers watched with curiosity, sensing that something significant was about to happen. I felt my palms sweat and my heart race, but I knew there was no turning back. I rose from my chair, each step heavy with anticipation. Standing in the center of the cafe, I felt every gaze like a spotlight. My friends whispered encouragements, and Amara's presence was a lifeline. Tonight, I began, voice shaking slightly. I've learned that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage, it's trust, and it's love. I paused, taking a shaky breath. I wore this dress because Amara asked me to, yes, but also because I wanted to trust her, to face fear, and to prove that love isn't just words, it's action. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. The cafe was silent, every ear tuned to my words. I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet stronger than I had imagined. I've laughed, I've been nervous, and I've felt fear tonight. I continued, voice growing steadier. But I've also learned that trust, honesty, and love are more powerful than judgment, ridicule, or discomfort. I am here fully, openly, because I choose love, trust, and courage over fear. A murmur of approval spread through the cafe. Friends smiled, strangers nodded, and even the stranger orchestrating the night's events regarded me with a faint smile of approval. Amara stepped closer, whispering in my ear, "See? Vulnerability is strength. You're proving it right now." I exhaled, relief washing over me. For the first time, I felt the dress not as a symbol of embarrassment or pressure, but as a representation of everything I had learned tonight. Courage, trust, and love weren't abstract concepts anymore, they were tangible, living through my actions and choices. The stranger handed me one last envelope, heavier than the others. My hands trembled slightly as I opened it, aware that this was the final stage of the night. Inside, a single card read, Phase 5, the ultimate test. Will you embrace this challenge fully, even if it changes the way people see you forever? The choice is yours. I felt my pulse spike. This wasn't just about courage or vulnerability anymore, this was about identity, trust, and love in their purest, most exposed forms. Amara squeezed my hand. Rocky, whatever you choose, I'm proud of you. This is about us, about trust, and about proving to yourself what you're capable of. I nodded, drawing a deep breath. The cafe seemed to hold its breath with me, everyone waiting for my decision. I realized then that the dress, the challenges, the whispers, the attention, none of it mattered as much as the choice I was about to make. One step forward, one choice, one act of courage, and everything could change. I straightened in the dress, feeling the weight of every eye in the cafe. The final decision was mine to fully embrace this challenge or walk away, leaving the dress, the night, and possibly even my marriage behind. The stranger's eyes held mine. Rocky, it's time. My heart pounded. One choice, one night, one test, and the outcome could redefine everything. The air in the cafe seemed to thicken, every sound muted except for my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The stranger's gaze held me like a challenge, waiting, testing, demanding the final choice. I looked down at the soft pink fabric of the dress, once a symbol of fear, now a symbol of trust, courage, and love. Amara's hand was steady in mine, grounding me. Rocky, remember why you're here. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it, she whispered. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every expectation, my own, hers, my friends, even the strangers watching. The choice wasn't about clothing or appearances anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could face fear, embrace vulnerability, and honor trust and love fully. I straightened in the dress, feeling a mix of nervous energy and determination. I'll do it, I said firmly, my voice steadying. I'll embrace this challenge, fully, honestly, and openly. For her and for us. A murmur ran through the cafe. Friends smiled, some in disbelief, others nodding with admiration. Even the strangers seemed impressed, recognizing the courage in my voice, in my stance, in my decision. The stranger stepped forward, expression unreadable. Good, they said softly. Phase 5 is about commitment. By embracing this challenge, you are demonstrating trust, courage, and love in their purest forms. But there's one final moment, one last act that will seal tonight. I felt my stomach twist with anticipation. One last act? I had already faced judgment, whispers, vulnerability, and social pressure. What more could there be? Amara leaned close, her eyes warm. Rocky, whatever happens next, know that you've already proven more than most people ever will. Trust yourself. I nodded, feeling a wave of determination rise. I trust you. I trust us. And I trust myself. The stranger gestured toward the small stage area near the cafe's corner. Stand there, they said. This is where your courage, honesty, and love will be visible to everyone. Speak, act, or perform whatever you choose. But it must be genuine, authentic, true to who you are tonight. I walked to the stage, each step deliberate, every gaze in the room fixed on me. Friends whispered encouragements, some holding back laughter to keep the atmosphere light, while strangers watched with curiosity and tension. I took a deep breath and spoke. Tonight, I've learned more than I ever expected. I've learned that fear doesn't define me. Vulnerability doesn't weaken me. And trust strengthens love beyond measure. Pausing, I glanced at Amara. Her eyes shone with pride and love, giving me the courage to continue. This dress, this night, every challenge has taught me that love requires courage, trust, and honesty. And I choose all three, fully, openly, for us. No matter what the world thinks, no matter what is said, no matter how uncomfortable or exposed I feel, I choose trust. I choose courage. I choose love. A silence followed, heavy but not uncomfortable. The room seemed to absorb my words, letting them settle, letting them resonate. Then slowly applause began, quiet at first, then growing. Friends clapped warmly, strangers joined in, and the stranger nodded with approval, a faint smile breaking their stoic expression. Amara stepped onto the stage beside me, wrapping her arms around me. Rocky, you've shown me and yourself what courage truly looks like. Tonight, you've proven more than anyone could imagine. I exhaled, finally feeling the tension drain away. The dress, the challenges, the whispers, and the judgment had all transformed into something powerful, proof that trust, love, and courage were stronger than fear. The stranger handed me a small envelope one last time. Inside was a simple note. Tonight, you faced fear, vulnerability, and social pressure. You embraced courage, trust, and love fully. Remember this lesson, it will guide you through all the challenges ahead. I felt a warmth spread through me. The night had begun with fear and uncertainty, and now it ended with pride, love, and strength I hadn't known I possessed. Amara leaned her forehead against mine. Rocky, tonight wasn't just a test. It was a journey, and you passed in every way possible. I smiled, realizing she was right. Every step, every moment, every challenge had been about more than the dress or the night itself. It had been about discovering what courage, trust, and love truly meant and realizing that I could embody them fully. Just as we were leaving the cafe, my phone buzzed one last time. Another message appeared. Well done tonight. But remember, courage is never-ending. Trust can be tested at any moment, and love will always challenge you. Are you ready for the next chapter? I glanced at Amara, feeling her steadying presence. One night, one dress, one choice, and yet, I knew this was only the beginning. The journey of trust, courage, and love would continue, and we would face it together. The cool night air hit my face as we stepped outside the cafe. The city lights glittered like tiny stars, but I barely noticed them. My mind was still spinning from the intensity of the night, from the courage I had summoned, from the lessons I had absorbed. And yet, the message on my phone lingered in my thoughts. Courage is never-ending. Trust can be tested at any moment, and love will always challenge you. Amara squeezed my hand as we walked down the quiet street. Rocky, tonight was only the beginning, she said softly. You've proven so much already, but the journey continues. Life will keep testing us together. We'll face everything. I nodded, the weight of her words sinking in. I understand, and I'm ready. For whatever comes next. The stranger had disappeared from the cafe, but their presence lingered, like an unseen guide orchestrating lessons in courage and trust. I realized that tonight wasn't just about the dress, the challenges, or public scrutiny. It was about transformation, learning to embrace vulnerability as strength, fear as a guide, and love as the ultimate anchor. As we walked, a subtle tension settled over the city streets. I sensed that tonight's lessons weren't confined to the cafe. Something awaited us, another phase, perhaps more personal and unpredictable. Amara glanced at me, a knowing look in her eyes. Rocky, do you feel different? I hesitated, considering my response. I think I do. I feel braver, more open, like I faced a part of myself I never wanted to confront, and yet it feels right. Like I've been holding back, and tonight, I finally let go. She smiled softly. That's exactly it. Courage isn't just in big gestures. Sometimes it's in small steps, in trusting yourself, and in allowing yourself to be seen. And tonight, you did all of that. Her words made me pause. Yes, I had faced fear. Yes, I had embraced vulnerability. And yes, the love we shared had guided me through every step. But I realized something else too, that courage wasn't a one-time act. It was ongoing, living, and demanding attention at every moment life challenged me. As we turned a corner, the quiet of the street was interrupted by a familiar figure stepping out from the shadows, the stranger. They didn't speak immediately, just observed, their expression unreadable but commanding. You've done well so far, Rocky, they said finally, voice calm but deliberate. But there is one more test tonight, one last exercise of trust and courage. Are you prepared to face it? My chest tightened, but I didn't falter. I am, I replied firmly. Whatever it is, I'll face it. I've learned that fear isn't the end. Courage is action, and I'll act. The stranger nodded faintly. Good. Then follow me. We walked together through narrow streets, past quiet shops and dimly lit alleys. The world seemed to shrink around me, the night growing more intimate, more intense. I realized that this test wasn't just about exposure or vulnerability in public. It was personal, emotional, psychological, and deeply intertwined with trust and love. Finally, we arrived at a small, secluded park. The trees whispered in the night breeze, and a soft glow from distant street lamps gave the scene an almost dreamlike quality. I felt anticipation twist with nerves. Here, the stranger said, handing me a small envelope. Inside is your final choice for night. Read it carefully. Your actions will define the outcome and your understanding of trust, courage, and love. I opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a card with a single instruction. Speak openly about your fears, your desires, and your understanding of trust and love to the person who matters most completely honestly. Do not hold back. Vulnerability, now, will solidify your courage. I felt a wave of apprehension. Speaking my deepest thoughts and fears, fully and without reservation, was terrifying. Yet, I looked at Amara, whose eyes radiated patience, understanding, and unwavering support. "You can do this," she whispered. "Trust yourself. Trust us. Speak your heart." I took a deep breath, feeling the chill night air sharpen my focus. "Amara, tonight has been more than I ever imagined." I wore a dress, faced scrutiny, and revealed vulnerability I didn't know I could summon. But in doing so, I've realized that courage is action, trust is a gift, and love is the guiding force that makes both possible. Her eyes shimmered. "Rocky, keep going. Say everything you feel." I continued, voice steadying with conviction. "I fear judgment. I fear failure. I fear not being enough. But I also know that vulnerability doesn't weaken me, it strengthens our bond, strengthens me. And I choose to embrace that. I choose to trust completely. I choose to love fully. And I will do so, no matter the challenge, no matter the fear." Amara's hand pressed against mine, tears brimming in her eyes. "Rocky, that's all I needed to hear. You've proven yourself tonight, more than words could ever capture." The stranger stepped back, nodding once. "Well done. Tonight, you faced fear, embraced vulnerability, and demonstrated trust and love. These lessons will guide you beyond tonight. Courage is never-ending, and love is always a challenge, but you have shown that you can meet both." The night was quiet again, but my phone buzzed one last time. A final message appeared. "Remember tonight. Remember the courage, the trust, and the love. But the journey doesn't end here. Life will continue to test you, and the choices you make next will define everything." I glanced at Amara, feeling the weight of everything we had experienced together. One night, one dress, one series of challenges, and yet, I knew this was only the beginning. The world would continue to test us, but together, we were stronger than any fear, any judgment, or any challenge that awaited. The city streets felt quieter now, but the weight of the night lingered with me. Each step I took in the soft pink dress reminded me of everything I had faced: fear, vulnerability, judgment, and, ultimately, courage. I glanced at Amara, who walked beside me, her presence steady and grounding. "You know," she said softly, "tonight wasn't just about the dress or the challenges. It was about discovering what you're capable of. And you did it." I smiled, though a hint of nervousness remained. I think I understand now. Courage isn't something you feel in the moment. It's something you choose over and over. Trust isn't about expecting perfection, it's about believing in someone, even when it's hard. And love isn't safe. It's messy, challenging, and beautiful all at once. Amara squeezed my hand. "Exactly. And you've embraced all of it tonight." As we walked further, a gentle breeze brushed against us. The night sky stretched endlessly, the stars flickering like tiny reminders of the infinite possibilities ahead. But beneath the calm, I felt the subtle tension of anticipation. The stranger's final words about courage never-ending and life continuing to test us echoed in my mind. We reached a quiet plaza, empty except for a few distant pedestrians. The stranger appeared once more, stepping out from the shadows. "Rocky, Amara, tonight has shown courage, trust, and love. But life will continue to present challenges, both subtle and overt. Are you prepared to face them together?" I took a deep breath, feeling the lessons of the night solidify within me. We are. Whatever comes, we face it together. Fear doesn't control us, trust and love do. Amara's eyes shone, reflecting pride and affection. And that's all that matters. Tonight was a beginning. The journey continues, and I'm glad we're on it together. The stranger nodded, a faint smile crossing their face. "Good. Remember, vulnerability and courage aren't one-time acts. They live in every decision, every action, every choice you make. Tonight was training. Tomorrow will be the test." We walked silently for a while, letting the words sink in. My mind replayed the evening, the cafe, the whispered encouragements, the stranger's observing eyes, the envelopes, and the messages. Every moment had been a test, but more importantly, it had been a lesson. I never thought a single night could change me this much. I admitted, voice quiet. I was scared, embarrassed, and uncertain. But I feel stronger now. More myself than I've ever been. Amara smiled softly. That's because you were brave enough to face it all. Courage and love aren't about being perfect. They're about choosing to move forward, even when it's uncomfortable or frightening. I nodded, taking her words to heart. Every step in the dress, every glance from friends or strangers, every act of honesty and vulnerability had built this moment, this understanding that fear could be faced, trust could be deepened, and love could be strengthened. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Another message appeared. Remember tonight's lessons. The journey is never-ending, and life will continue to challenge you. But you have proven your courage, trust, and love. Keep walking forward, together. I showed the message to Amara. She nodded.
Exactly.
The lessons tonight aren't over. Life will continue to test us, but we've proven that we can meet those challenges head-on. I felt a surge of determination. This night had been transformative. The dress, the challenges, the whispers, and the final moments of vulnerability had all combined into a lesson I would never forget. And the knowledge that Amara and I would face the future together gave me a sense of strength and calm I had never known. As we turned the corner toward home, the city lights shimmering around us, I felt the subtle shift within myself. The fear that had gripped me at the start of the night had transformed into something powerful: confidence, courage, and trust. Amara squeezed my hand once more. Rocky, no matter what comes next, remember this night. Remember the strength you've discovered. And remember that we face life together. I nodded, smiling. I will. And I'll never forget it. I've learned that courage isn't just for tonight. It's for every challenge we face. Trust isn't just for one act. It's for every moment we share. And love is what makes all of it possible. The night felt lighter now, the tension giving way to quiet confidence. The city stretched endlessly before us, full of unknown challenges and opportunities. But I felt ready to face whatever came next with courage, trust, and love as my guide. As we approached our apartment building, my phone buzzed one last time. A new message appeared. This night was only the beginning. Life will continue to test you both, and the choices you make next will shape everything. Are you ready for the future? I glanced at Amara, feeling the weight of the message. One night, one dress, one journey, and yet, I knew this was just the start of something far greater. Together, we could face anything, but the future was still full of unknown challenges. The next morning, sunlight streamed through our apartment windows, but the lessons of last night still clung to me. I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the soft pink dress folded neatly on the chair, a symbol of everything I had faced and learned. Amara came into the room, a warm smile lighting her face. Morning, Rocky. How are you feeling after last night? I ran a hand through my hair, still feeling the adrenaline lingering. Honestly, stronger, but also reflective. I didn't realize how much courage, trust, and love could be tested in just one night. She sat beside me, her hand brushing mine. That's because it wasn't just a night. It was a journey. And every challenge, every choice, every moment of vulnerability, it built the foundation for everything ahead. I nodded slowly, taking a deep breath. The cafe, the street, the park, the messages, every moment had been intense, emotional, and transformative. And yet, something told me the journey wasn't over. Life had a way of testing us again, sometimes in ways we didn't expect. The phone buzzed again. I picked it up cautiously, half expecting another mysterious challenge. But this time, it was a simple message from the stranger. Reflection is part of courage. Review what you've learned. Discuss it with someone you trust. And prepare. New tests may appear soon, but your strength has grown. I showed it to Amara. They want us to reflect on the lessons, I think. She nodded.
Exactly.
Reflection is part of growth. What did last night teach you, Rocky? I thought for a moment, weighing my words carefully. It taught me that fear doesn't define me. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Courage is acting despite fear. Trust is choosing someone over uncertainty. And love is what makes all of it worth it. Amara smiled softly, brushing her fingers across my hand. And that's exactly right. But remember, courage, trust, and love aren't one-time acts. They're daily choices. Life will keep testing you. The key is to keep acting with honesty and strength. I nodded, feeling a renewed sense of determination. The night had ended, but its lessons would guide me every day, shaping not just my actions but my understanding of myself and our marriage. As we prepared for the day, the apartment felt alive with quiet reflection. The soft hum of the city outside reminded me that life was moving forward, and we had to move with it. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I froze for a moment, heart racing not with fear, but with anticipation. Amara walked over and opened it. Standing there was a courier, holding a small, elegantly wrapped package. I took it carefully, my fingers brushing the smooth surface. There was a card attached, with neat handwriting. Another step begins. Courage, trust, and love will be tested in unexpected ways. Be ready. I looked at Amara, who raised an eyebrow in quiet amusement. Well, it seems the journey continues, she said. I nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The night had been intense, but this package suggested new challenges, ones that would test us in ways I couldn't yet imagine. We opened the package together. Inside were items that immediately suggested preparation for something public: a small camera, a handwritten note with instructions, and a subtle outfit not addressed this time, but something that required confidence, composure, and poise. The note read, "Tomorrow, you will face a social challenge that will test your courage in front of strangers. You will need to demonstrate trust, poise, and authenticity. The goal is not perfection, but honesty and bravery." I looked at Amara, feeling the weight of the challenge before me. A social challenge in front of strangers? She nodded.
Yes.
But remember, last night prepared you. You've already proven courage and trust. This is the next step, Rocky, and I'll be right beside you the entire time. I exhaled, realizing that our journey wasn't just about a night or a dress. It was about growth, love, and courage in every aspect of life. And even though the challenges ahead were unknown, I felt ready to face them, not just for myself, but for us. As we set the package aside and prepared for the day ahead, my phone buzzed again. A new message appeared. The world is watching. Courage and trust are tested in every interaction. Are you ready to show what you've learned? I glanced at Amara, feeling the tension and anticipation. One night, one dress, one journey, and now, the next challenge awaited, public, unpredictable, and demanding every ounce of courage, trust, and love we possessed. The morning sun had barely climbed above the skyline when we stepped out of our apartment, the city buzzing with life around us. I carried the small outfit from the package carefully, aware that the challenge ahead would push me even further. The dress from last night had been a personal test, but this was public, in front of strangers, and every action would be noticed, interpreted, judged. Amara walked beside me, calm and confident, her presence a lifeline. Rocky, remember, courage isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward despite fear, she whispered. I nodded, taking a deep breath. I understand. Last night showed me that fear doesn't control me. Vulnerability is strength. And trust guides every choice I make. We arrived at the designated location, a small outdoor plaza filled with casual passers-by. A subtle stage had been set up, and at the center was a sign with my name on it. My heart raced. Every eye would be on me, every movement scrutinized. This wasn't just about courage, it was about authenticity in public, proving that I could face scrutiny and still act with trust and composure. The stranger appeared again, their calm presence commanding the space. Rocky, Amara, this challenge tests courage in its rawest form. You will engage with strangers, speak openly, and demonstrate honesty and composure. The goal is not perfection, it's authenticity under observation. I swallowed hard. The adrenaline surged, but I looked at Amara. Her hand found mine, anchoring me. "We'll do it together," she whispered. Step by step. The first part of the challenge was subtle but intense. A group of strangers approached, curious and cautious, their eyes scanning me in the outfit I now wore. I took a deep breath and introduced myself, voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "Hi, I'm Rocky," I began. "I'm here to face a challenge to demonstrate courage, honesty, and trust. Tonight, last night, and today are all about growth, not perfection." The strangers nodded, intrigued. "What kind of challenge?" one asked, eyebrows raised. I smiled, forcing composure. "It's about embracing vulnerability in public, speaking honestly, and acting with courage even when it's uncomfortable." Amara stayed by my side, supporting me silently. The group asked questions, personal ones, probing gently but insistently. I answered honestly, sharing thoughts about fear, trust, and love. Every word, every pause, every glance felt amplified, but the foundation built last night helped me remain grounded. "Why a dress last night?" one stranger asked, curiosity genuine. I looked at Amara briefly, then spoke. The dress was a symbol of trust, courage, and vulnerability. It forced me to confront fear, embrace honesty, and demonstrate love and trust. And it worked. I learned more about myself, about courage, and about love than I ever expected. The strangers nodded thoughtfully, some smiling, some silent with respect. Their reactions were unpredictable, just as the stranger had promised. But I found strength in the unpredictability. Courage wasn't about certainty, it was about action. The next part of the challenge involved interacting more actively, helping strangers with small tasks, speaking about personal growth, and demonstrating confidence under observation. My voice remained steady, my gestures intentional, my words honest. Amara whispered encouragements, reminders of what we had learned together. "Every step, Rocky, every word is proof of your courage. Trust yourself. Trust us." I nodded, drawing strength from her presence. Each interaction, each question, each glance from the audience became less intimidating and more empowering. I realized then that public scrutiny was just another way to measure courage, and I had grown strong enough to face it. As the challenge neared its peak, the stranger handed me a final card. "Final task, speak your deepest fear and how you plan to overcome it in front of everyone here." Vulnerability now solidifies courage and trust. My stomach twisted. Speaking my deepest fear in public was terrifying. But I glanced at Amara. Her eyes radiated support, understanding, and love. I knew I could do it. "I fear that I won't always be strong enough for the people I love," I began, voice steady despite the tension. "I fear failing, disappointing, or letting fear control my actions. But tonight, I've learned that strength isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. Trust and love guide me, and I will continue to act courageously, even when it's hard." A silence followed, the plaza holding its breath. Then, slowly, applause erupted. Some strangers nodded in approval, others smiled, and even the stranger overseeing the challenge gave a subtle nod of recognition. Amara pressed her hand to mine, whispering, "Rocky, you've done it. You've shown courage, honesty, and love to everyone, including yourself." As we walked away from the plaza, my phone buzzed once more. A new message appeared. "You've proven your courage and trust publicly. But life's challenges never end. The next phase will test not just your bravery, but your patience, resilience, and commitment. Are you ready?" I glanced at Amara, feeling the weight of the message. One public challenge completed, one night of intense growth behind us, and yet, the journey wasn't over. The next phase loomed, promising new tests, deeper lessons, and the ultimate measure of trust, courage, and love. The evening had settled into a calm rhythm, but an undercurrent of tension lingered. My mind replayed the day, the public interactions, the honesty, the courage I had summoned, and I realized that each moment had left me both exhilarated and exhausted. Amara glanced at me as we walked down a quiet street, her expression thoughtful. Rocky, today showed how far you've come. But I think the next challenge will test something different. It won't just be about courage. It will demand patience, resilience, and trust. I swallowed hard, my chest tightening at the thought. I understand. But I feel ready. Tonight and today have shown me that fear isn't the end action and trust are what matter. She squeezed my hand. Exactly. And remember, we face it together. Back at the apartment, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the stranger appeared. Phase 9. The next challenge will require endurance, emotional control, and complete honesty under prolonged observation. You will face a situation that tests patience, resilience, and the depth of trust between you and your partner. Prepare carefully. I looked at Amara, feeling a mix of anticipation and nervous energy. Endurance and emotional control, this sounds intense. She nodded. It will be. But you've already proven that you can handle fear, vulnerability, and public scrutiny. This is the next level. And I believe in you, Rocky. I believe in us. I exhaled slowly, letting her words anchor me. Then let's do it. Together. The stranger arrived later that evening, leading us to a private location, a small, elegantly lit hall with minimal distractions. At the center was a setup that looked deceptively simple: a chair, a small table, and a series of envelopes arranged neatly. This challenge, the stranger began, voice calm and deliberate, is designed to test emotional endurance, patience, and trust over an extended period. Each envelope contains a task or reflection prompt. You will complete them in sequence, and every response must be honest, thoughtful, and deliberate. There is no rushing. There is no avoidance. Trust in yourself and each other is essential. I glanced at Amara. Her steady gaze reminded me of the lessons of the past nights: courage, trust, and love. Together, we could face this. The first envelope contained a simple instruction. Spend 10 minutes reflecting silently on your greatest personal fear. Then share it with your partner honestly, without holding back. I felt my heart race. 10 minutes of silent reflection sounded simple, but in reality, it was excruciating. Thoughts and doubts swirled in my mind. What if I couldn't articulate my fear? What if it made me appear weak? Amara reached out, placing her hand on mine. Rocky, remember what you learned. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Vulnerability is strength. Trust me. I took a deep breath and nodded. The minutes stretched slowly. I focused, recalling the lessons of the past nights. Finally, I spoke. My greatest fear, I began, voice low but steady, is failing the people I love. I fear disappointing Amara, letting her down, not living up to the trust she places in me. But I also know that acknowledging this fear, facing it, is the only way to overcome it. Amara's eyes shimmered with understanding. Rocky, thank you. That honesty, that courage, gets everything. The next envelope asked us to engage in a shared task designed to test patience and collaboration. Together, assemble a complex puzzle under timed observation. Communication and teamwork are essential. Mistakes are part of the process. Frustration is a test of emotional control. We began. The pieces spread across the table. The puzzle was intricate, requiring coordination, strategy, and calm discussion. Initially, frustration bubbled, pieces didn't fit, instructions were unclear, and time ticked by steadily. But I remembered the stranger's instructions and Amara's words. Patience, resilience, and trust. Let's slow down, I suggested. We don't need to rush. Focus on one section at a time. She nodded. Agreed. We've got this. Minutes passed, sometimes tense, sometimes quiet, but eventually the puzzle began to take shape. Piece by piece, we worked together, relying on patience, communication, and mutual trust. By the time we placed the final piece, a sense of accomplishment washed over us. The stranger observed silently, nodding once. Phase 9 is about endurance, emotional control, and collaboration. You have demonstrated each. But there is one final component: reflection and integration. How will you apply these lessons to your relationship and your life? I took a deep breath, glancing at Amara. We've learned that challenges aren't just about fear or embarrassment. They're about facing life honestly, trusting each other, and acting with courage even when it's uncomfortable. These lessons, they'll guide us in everything we do together. Amara smiled, her eyes full of pride. Exactly. And remembering this will help us navigate every challenge, every obstacle, and every unknown together. As we left the hall, my phone buzzed again. A final message appeared. Phase 9 complete, but life will continue to challenge you. Courage, trust, patience, and love are lifelong tests. Are you ready for the ultimate challenge? I looked at Amara, feeling the weight of the message. One night, one dress, multiple public and private challenges, and yet the ultimate test loomed ahead. Together, we were strong. But the future promised trials that would demand every ounce of courage, trust, and love we possessed. The morning sun streamed through the apartment windows, but sleep felt distant. The message from last night lingered in my mind. Are you ready for the ultimate challenge? Amara sat across from me at the small breakfast table, her expression calm but serious. Rocky, tonight isn't just another challenge. It's the culmination of everything: courage, trust, love, patience. Are you ready? I nodded, trying to steady my racing heart. I think I am. Last night. Today, we've faced so much already. I know this won't be easy, but we'll face it together. She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. Exactly. And remember, fear is normal. Courage is moving forward despite it. Later that evening, we arrived at a secluded venue chosen by the stranger, a beautiful, expansive room filled with subtle lighting, large mirrors, and a soft hum of ambient music. The stranger greeted us with a calm but commanding presence. Rocky, Amara, tonight's challenge will test every lesson you've learned. Courage, trust, patience, love, all will be tested. The room is designed to push you into situations that may feel uncomfortable, exposing, or emotionally intense. Are you ready to begin? I inhaled deeply, glancing at Amara. We're ready. She nodded, offering a reassuring smile. Together. The first phase of the challenge required honesty under pressure. Envelopes were distributed, each containing a deeply personal question or reflection prompt. The catch: we had to answer aloud, in front of each other, without hesitation or evasion. The first card read, share a moment in your life when you felt fear but didn't act. What would you do differently now? I swallowed, feeling the weight of vulnerability. There was a time I avoided confronting my parents about a serious issue. I was afraid of disappointment and conflict. If I faced it now, I would act honestly, communicate openly, and trust that love can survive honesty. Amara's eyes glistened. Thank you, Rocky. That honesty, it shows courage and trust. I admire you for it. Her turn came next. She spoke openly about moments of self-doubt, fear of losing me, and challenges she faced in trusting herself and others. Listening to her, I felt a surge of respect and love. Her courage was as profound as mine. Next came the endurance phase. A series of timed exercises tested patience and emotional control. One involved coordinating movements across a mirrored floor while responding to challenging prompts, requiring composure under observation. At first, I stumbled, frustration rising. But I remembered last night, the lessons in patience and resilience. Slowly, I regained control, matching Amara's movements, communicating silently, and trusting her guidance. Each success felt exhilarating, each misstep a lesson in composure. By the end, the stranger nodded approvingly. You have demonstrated courage, patience, and trust. But the final task is the most demanding: a direct confrontation with vulnerability, fear, and love simultaneously. The final task involved a staged scenario designed to test emotional honesty and intimacy. A subtle reenactment of a high-stakes social or personal challenge designed to push comfort zones to the limit. We had to act authentically while under scrutiny, expressing both fear and love honestly. I felt my heart pound as the scenario unfolded. I stumbled at first, nervous under the gaze of the stranger, mirrors, and observation points. But Amara whispered, "Courage isn't about perfection. Trust me. Trust yourself." Her words anchored me. I breathed deeply, let go of fear, and spoke openly about my insecurities, my love for her, my determination to act courageously and honestly. Amara responded in kind, sharing her vulnerabilities and affirming trust and love. The room seemed to hold its breath as we navigated the scenario together, balancing authenticity, emotional honesty, and mutual support. Finally, silence. Then a nod from the stranger, faint but unmistakable. "You have completed the ultimate challenge," they said softly. Courage, trust, love, patience, and vulnerability all demonstrated fully. Remember tonight. Let it guide you through every challenge life places before you. As we left the venue, the stranger handed me one last envelope. Inside was a note. "Tonight was the ultimate test, but life itself is an ongoing challenge. Courage, trust, and love are not destinations, they are lifelong practices. Are you ready for the journey that truly has no end?" I glanced at Amara, feeling the weight and promise of the message. One ultimate challenge complete, countless lessons learned, but the path ahead remained uncertain, full of tests, growth, and unexpected moments. Together, we would face them all. The morning after the ultimate challenge, the sunlight felt warmer, almost as if it carried a sense of new beginnings. The apartment was quiet, but the weight of the previous night's lessons lingered with me. I ran my fingers over the soft pink dress, still folded neatly on the chair, a tangible reminder of the journey that had begun weeks ago. Amara sat beside me on the sofa, sipping her coffee, her eyes thoughtful. "Rocky, last night was intense. But tonight and every day after, life will throw challenges at us. How we respond in normal life, the small moments will determine how well we truly learn from all of this." I nodded slowly, feeling the truth of her words. The public challenges, the private reflections, the intense tests of patience and courage, they had all been lessons. But now I realized the real challenge would be everyday life, interactions with family, friends, coworkers, and even strangers. Courage, trust, and love were not just for staged tests. They were for life. The first real-world test came sooner than I expected. I had to attend a work event that evening, a networking mixer filled with unfamiliar faces, social expectations, and potential judgments. The idea of presenting myself confidently while maintaining authenticity and composure felt daunting. Amara noticed my tension. "Remember, Rocky, courage isn't the absence of fear. Trust isn't blind. Love guides you. Apply the lessons step by step. You've done this before, just in different forms." Her reassurance grounded me. I dressed carefully, choosing an outfit that reflected my style, but also my confidence. The memories of the public plaza, the endurance challenges, and the ultimate test gave me a mental toolkit: honesty, patience, composure, and the willingness to be seen as I truly was. At the event, I moved through the crowd cautiously at first, making small talk, observing reactions, and practicing calm composure. Questions came, personal and professional, probing but not hostile. I answered with honesty, maintaining eye contact, and speaking with a balance of confidence and humility. Amara stayed nearby, a constant presence of support. When a challenging question arose about a mistake I had made at work, I paused, reflected, and responded openly. "Yes, I made an error in that project. But I learned from it, adjusted my approach, and now I apply those lessons daily." Mistakes aren't failures, they're opportunities to grow. The person I was speaking to nodded appreciatively, and I felt a surge of relief and accomplishment. Each honest, courageous answer reinforced the lessons I had learned. Trust myself, act despite fear, and rely on the support of those I love. Later that evening, walking home with Amara, I reflected on the day. It's strange, the challenges we faced felt so intense, almost unreal. But today was real life. And it was harder in some ways. She smiled.
Exactly.
That's why we practiced with the challenges. Life doesn't stage situations for us, it's unpredictable. But you now have the tools to navigate it with courage, trust, and love. And remember, we do it together. I nodded, feeling a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. The journey wasn't over, it never would be. But the lessons, the courage, and the trust one had built would guide me through the days ahead. The next test arrived unexpectedly. A neighbor, someone I had only exchanged polite greetings with, approached us with a small request: help with an urgent personal matter that required time, attention, and emotional patience. Initially, I felt hesitation, a desire to retreat, to avoid the effort and exposure. But I remembered the stranger's words: courage and trust are ongoing practices, not one-time acts. I looked at Amara. We can help, I said firmly, with quiet determination. Together, we assisted our neighbor, navigating the unexpected situation with patience, composure, and empathy. The gratitude in their eyes reinforced a powerful lesson. Courage and love weren't just about facing orchestrated challenges. They were about responding authentically to the demands and opportunities life placed before us. As we returned home that night, exhausted but fulfilled, my phone buzzed with a new message. Your journey of courage, trust, and love has expanded into everyday life. But a significant choice is approaching, one that will test everything you've learned. Are you ready to make a decision that could change your life forever? I glanced at Amara, feeling the gravity of the message. Life had become the ultimate challenge, unpredictable, ongoing, and deeply meaningful. One journey had ended, but another, even more important, was beginning. The morning light spilled across the apartment, but I couldn't shake the weight of the message from last night. A significant choice was approaching, one that promised to challenge my courage, trust, and love in ways I hadn't yet experienced. Amara noticed my restlessness and approached, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. Rocky, whatever the choice is, remember the lessons you've learned. Courage isn't just facing fear in public. Trust isn't just about obeying instructions. Love isn't just about words. It's about every action, every decision you make. I nodded, taking a deep breath. I know, but it feels overwhelming. This choice could change everything. She smiled softly. Then let's approach it together. One step at a time, honestly and courageously. Later that afternoon, the stranger appeared once again, guiding us to a quiet, elegant space. On a small table sat 2 sealed envelopes, each marked with a symbol: 1 heart, 1 star. This is the choice, the stranger said calmly. 1 envelope represents a path of personal growth and partnership, testing courage, trust, and love in everyday life. The other represents a path with unexpected challenges that may strain your limits, but offer deep transformation. You must choose one. There is no right or wrong, only your honest decision. Choose wisely, with courage and love. My heart pounded. The envelopes seemed ordinary, but the weight of the decision made them feel monumental. Amara placed her hand over mine. Whatever you choose, we face it together. Trust your heart, Rocky. That's the lesson this entire journey has been preparing you for. I took a deep breath, closing my eyes to gather clarity. The envelope with the heart symbol felt safe, familiar, nurturing. The one with the star felt uncertain, exciting, and potentially transformative. My mind raced with possibilities, fears, and hopes. Finally, I reached out and selected the envelope with the star, the path of transformation, challenge, and growth. Amara's eyes widened briefly, then softened with pride. You chose courage, Rocky. You're embracing the unknown with trust and love. That's all I could ask for. I opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a note. You have chosen the path of growth and challenge. Life will now place unexpected trials before you. Some will test patience, others courage. Trust and love will guide you. Remember, you are never alone in this journey. The stranger nodded approvingly. This choice signifies readiness to face life fully. The lessons you have learned from vulnerability, public exposure, patience, endurance, and love will guide you. The journey continues, now in uncharted territory. Are you prepared? I looked at Amara, her presence calm and unwavering. We are. Whatever comes, we face it together. She smiled warmly. Exactly. That's the essence of everything we've learned. Courage, trust, and love applied every day, in every situation. The first challenge on this new path arrived immediately. A close friend of Amara's, someone I barely knew, reached out needing emotional support in a personal crisis. I felt an initial surge of hesitation, fear of inadequacy, fear of missteps, fear of failure. But I remembered last night, the lessons of choosing courage and embracing the unknown. I took Amara's hand. We can help, I said firmly. Together. The hours that followed tested everything I had learned. Listening without judgment, offering support without overstepping, maintaining patience, and demonstrating empathy. Each interaction required focus, emotional control, and courage. By the end of the evening, the friend expressed deep gratitude, and I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. This was real-life courage, trust, and love. No staged challenges, no envelopes, just genuine human connection. As Amara and I returned home late at night, exhausted but fulfilled, my phone buzzed with another message. Your journey has entered a new phase. Challenges will now escalate unpredictably. Every decision, every action will test the courage, trust, and love you've cultivated. Are you ready to confront the unknown fully? I glanced at Amara, feeling both excitement and apprehension. One major choice made, one path embarked upon, and the future promised trials, growth, and transformation beyond anything I had experienced before. The morning felt unusually still, as though the city itself was holding its breath. After the events of the past weeks, the public challenges, the private reflections, and the ultimate decision, a new sense of anticipation settled over me. Today would mark the first unpredictable trial of the path I had chosen. Amara noticed my tension as we prepared for the day. Rocky, remember, courage isn't about knowing exactly what will happen. Trust isn't about certainty. Love isn't just about comfort. Today, we face the unknown together. I nodded, taking a deep breath. The lessons of the previous challenges were a shield. Now courage, trust, patience, and love had been tested and strengthened. But the unknown carried its own weight, and anticipation alone was enough to make my heart race. By mid-morning, a subtle notification appeared on my phone. A message from the stranger. Phase 13 begins now. An unexpected challenge awaits you both. It will test adaptability, emotional resilience, and trust. The outcome depends not on perfection, but on courage and honesty. Amara and I exchanged a glance. The phrasing alone made the challenge feel immediate, pressing, unavoidable. Meet at the city park, near the fountain. Observe. React. Decide. Together. We made our way there, the streets busy with people, sounds of life filling the air. At first glance, the park appeared ordinary: children playing, couples walking, dogs bounding across the grass. But as we approached the fountain, subtle details hinted at the challenge. A small group of strangers gathered, watching attentively, and a table with sealed envelopes sat beneath a nearby tree. The stranger emerged from behind the fountain, calm and composed. Rocky, Amara, this challenge requires observation, decision-making, and courage under subtle pressure. You will face unpredictable scenarios that test emotional intelligence and mutual trust. There is no script, only your actions and choices. I felt my pulse quicken. Unpredictable scenarios. No instructions beyond observation. My mind raced with possibilities, fears, and strategies. Amara squeezed my hand. Rocky, breathe. Trust yourself. Trust us. Step by step. The first envelope contained a seemingly simple task. Observe the strangers around you. Identify someone who seems troubled or in need. Approach them. Offer assistance or comfort, but do so with honesty and respect. I scanned the crowd carefully. A young woman sitting alone on a bench caught my attention, her posture tense, eyes downcast. My heart tightened, a real opportunity to apply the lessons not just simulate them. "Let's do this," I whispered to Amara. Together, we approached her slowly, offering calm, non-intrusive gestures of support. "Hi," I began softly, voice steady. "We noticed you seemed upset. Is there anything we can do to help?" Her eyes flicked up, wary, but not hostile. I'm just having a rough day. But thank you for asking." Amara smiled gently. "Sometimes talking helps. No pressure, we just want to listen if you'd like." For the next several minutes, we engaged with her carefully, listening, empathizing, offering small words of encouragement. The stranger observed silently from a distance, but the real challenge wasn't being watched, it was maintaining honesty, composure, and empathy under unpredictable circumstances. After we left the park, I felt a mix of relief and exhilaration. The challenge wasn't dramatic or staged, but it had demanded everything I had learned. Courage to approach, patience to listen, trust in my instincts, and love expressed through empathy. Amara leaned against me. "Rocky, you handled that beautifully. The lessons of courage, trust, and love aren't just for tests, they're for life." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment, yet a subtle tension remained. This was just the beginning. The envelope tasks hinted at more unpredictable scenarios, each designed to push us further, testing adaptability and resilience in ways I couldn't yet anticipate. As we walked home, my phone buzzed again with a final message for the day. Phase 13 is ongoing. Tomorrow will bring a scenario that challenges not only your courage and trust, but also the depth of your love. Prepare yourselves mentally and emotionally, it will be unlike anything you've faced before. I glanced at Amara, feeling the weight of the message. One real-world test complete, one envelope opened, countless lessons reinforced, yet the next day promised an emotional and relational trial far beyond anything we had experienced.